Welcome everybody to the World of a Billion Podcast Network. I am Emily Gomer and a podcast engineer, and we are excited to bring you another episode of the Let's Be Trees with Sherry Wallace, which is about the funeral reform industry and natural burial and so on. So I'm gonna bring Sherry in here, to kick us off with one of our, guests, just to, with our first guest here. But hi Sherry, how's it going?
Hey, Emily. Thank you. Thank you for helping me put on my podcast. I don't think I'd come this far without you. And you look fantastic, by the way. You got your hair cut. Anyway, so I brought a couple of people together today to show that there's more than just me, and our crowd is growing. So we have a fantastic cause, and people are recognizing that, and we're looking for more people. So we need a board of directors for every state, and so now we need a lot of people to start out, and then we need ambassadors and just regular people to talk about the project, because we will not be able to start unless we get 50,000 people in every state to put up $100, and then we can proceed with closing on a property. A few hundred acres in every state. So I brought Jim Connor. He's an amazing guy and saw the vision in this project from the very beginning. So Emily, can you bring Jim in, and he's going to tell you what he does, what he's capable of, and how he feels like he's going to help this project to fruition.
Yep, I can bring him on stage once he turns on his camera.
Ready when you are. Howdy. Howdy, Sherry. Nice to see you again. Looking forward to helping establish this board and establishing the organization to see if we can make some real change in the funeral industry. It's an industry that needs to be reformed. Obviously, there is a process that happens. There's a lot of rich people that are, using that industry to make tons of money. But at the same time, we want to try to bring it back to the families, focus on that. Make even some of it more environmentally friendly. If we can give different alternatives, things of that nature, I think we have a good idea here. So we just need the right people in place, people that we can work with, and people that can see the vision of what we want to try to get to. That being, it can be more environmental friendly, more that the industry can be more available to other people, and then at the same time we can share in the same resources, right? It doesn't have to be $15,000-$20,000 to bury a loved one. We should be able to find a more environmentally friendly but a more family friendly alternative.
Free. How about free? That's the goal that I'm going to, with free. A $100 membership to me is free. And when you can get dividends paid back off of the $100 is actually too much. And we've talked about the math, So everything other than your $100 membership fee is an elective to me. And as far as I'm concerned, if somebody needed, a year or more to pay their $100 membership fee, as long as we weren't full, we could save a spot for them, and they could be buried basically with no money, just like our grandparents used to do. But tell them about your background, Jim. Tell the folks why you're qualified.
So I'm a consultant to a lot of different startups. I'm also a virtual CTO. So I work with a lot in technology, but I'm also a consultant for nonprofits. So there's a lot of different organizations that I work with. I've had the joy of working with Nobel Peace Laureates in certain campaigns that they've run around the world. I've also had the opportunity to work with $1 million startups and go and build them up and then exit and um, continue building out different ideas and executing those builds. So in this case, it's another idea that I've come across after meeting you and saying, okay, look, based off of what I've worked with in the past and as I consulted other startup founders and other nonprofits, how can we get this idea and make it reality, right? And then also, solve the problems along the way. There's going to be a lot of roadblocks. There's going to be some things that we have to make sure that, we do it in the very legal and obviously the correct way. But there's going to be some roadblocks that we need to overcome. And then with the right people in place, right? We'll be able to do that. We can, the more people that we can bring on, that'll bring value to the team and then help us solve those problems. It makes it a lot easier to make that idea a reality.
You were like, when I met you, you were like your demeanor is so GQ and laid back. I never thought that you would have the heart for this. And you surprised me greatly. And I'm so proud to have you on my team and in my corner,
No
to
problem,
confer
no
with, to
problem.
work this out.
Yeah, it's a matter of that I've met a lot of quite a few people. I've lived a very interesting life. I've done quite a few podcasts. I've told my story. At the age of 24, I had 4 kids, and so I had dug myself a pretty big hole. And then with help, especially from nonprofits, I was able to dig myself out of that hole. Right, all my kids are grown up now, but it was a pretty big obstacle for me to overcome. And so I talked to a lot of students, I talked to a lot of teachers and share my story and say, hey, look, I had 24, I had 4 kids, 4 mouths to feed. How do you get from there and become successful? How do you go on and build businesses and make good money? So, I share that story and I share my vision of how people can build out a successful life in the vision that they want. Now, just because I had kids and I've made quite a bit of money, it also means that I still wanted to travel, right? I still wanted to go do things and see and learn about other cultures. So I've done that. And so for me, it's not a matter of just saying like, hey, I want to be successful. I want to make a whole bunch of money and I only want to deal with successful people. A lot of people have great ideas and some of them just they have their hearts are in the right place. They have a great mindset, but they need some help. So in those cases, I want to be able to provide that help and put them on the right path. Now, obviously, I don't want to do all the work and carrying it. I want to say, hey, look, let's consult, let's work together, let's collaborate, and let's get this idea and make it a reality. And that's where, whether that's technology, whether that's making introductions or finding investment dollars, that's where I come in to say, okay, how do we get this built and how do we get the right people in place?
Um, I'm thrilled to have you. I'm absolutely thrilled. Emily, can we bring in Beth Ann,
Grateful for
please?
being here, Sherry. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, Beth Ann. Thank you so much for coming and being a part of this. I met Beth Ann a couple of months back, last summer, I guess. I just called her out of the blue and told her I wanted to try to make funerals free. And I don't know, what did you get out of that conversation? You were like, whoa, what's going on? Shaking things up here.
Thank you so much, Sherry. And I am thrilled to be in conversation here with you and Let's Be Trees. And Sherry and I spoke, about 10 months or so, and we were both in sort of preliminary or just gathering parts of our projects, and we reconnected this week, and I'm a big believer in timing being a really important part and no mistake. And so we reconnected this week, and I just felt, again, there's great like passion and respect and excitement for the project that Sherry is spearheading. It is amazing. In my opinion, it's overdue time, and it's just beautiful. So the fact that you've invited me here today is a beautiful invitation, and I thank you. So I did write up a couple of things like what I do a little bit in the world. It's not singularly this beautiful cemetery society, which in and of itself is amazing, and I look forward to my participation in it in many more ways. But what I do, I'm a teacher at heart, and I've been a hospice nurse for many, many years. I'm also a home funeral guide. I am a death educator, and I am a death midwife. So I've worked in the container of death, helping people, teaching people for many, many years. And it has just been a niche that has been natural for me, one I'm passionate about. And also I have my own story in the background, which I won't share here today, that just, I had a lot of experience with personal and professional death that sort of led me here. So I also serve as a home funeral guide, which I hope gets a whole lot more press, if you will, and advocate for green burials. So I've actually been doing online classes for green burials and natural cemeteries, and just introducing this concept, this timely, necessary idea to all those that I teach with. So no surprise that Sherry and I would connect with each other in this way now. So the community I've developed and continue to develop is called Doing Death Differently. And under that umbrella is kind of a whole lot of things, everything ranging from practical things like DNRs and advanced healthcare directives and like what is hospice, all the way to the conversations of, have you ever looked at death? What do you think about it? And what do you want at that time of your life? And sort of everything that spans in between. So my true passion is to coach people through all aspects of death care. And certainly what Sherry is birthing and sharing is a huge and obviously the ultimate place that we are looking toward in this whole spectrum of end-of-life planning. So I'm really committed to supporting and educating people on this process. And since death has been, in my opinion, when I first started teaching, it was like this unspoken conversation, like death is an unspoken conversation. And I felt like it's been unspoken for too long, and everyone's going to die, as we all know, and we've stated here. So my intention for showing up here, using my skills, teaching and educated, is really to shift this whole paradigm. Like Sherry is taking like this whole idea of the professional, very marketed funeral home and all the things that really aren't serving us at our basic level, and transforming it or looking at how else can we do this, everything from economy, meeting people's needs, having people have more compassionate burials, and the conservation of land. I mean, there's just so much in the container, Sherry, that you are spearheading. So my intention is to just shift this paradigm so we can increase our awareness and make all these changes together. So yeah, I'm delighted. That's sort of what I do. And just share a little bit about what I'm creating, if that's okay. Yeah. So what I'm creating, currently I'm creating a platform which will launch later this summer. So I'm in a birthing process as well. And this platform will contain diverse information and offer lots of pertinent resources, all within death care. That is the current thing, project I'm birthing. And this platform will allow me to host a bunch of things, some live interactive classes, which is what I've been doing for a while. And people show up, and the response I get from people when we open the conversation about death or dying or where do I want to be buried, and all of that is just a beautiful conversation that so many people are grateful for. I'll also be offering various instructional videos that people can refer to and use as resources. And again, all related to death care. As I'm birthing this platform and creating this new program, I currently actually available now, some of the services I offer now. I am a home funeral guide, an end-of-life consultant. And I won't go into now what that means, but I work locally. I actually do a lot of work these days virtually as an end-of-life consultant. All different pieces come up that people are contacting me for, and it's an honor. It's an absolute honor to show up in this capacity. And I also go to people's homes to help if that is the scenario that they've envisioned and created. So, you know, as death care grows, as more and more of us are aging statistically, I believe, in globally and certainly in this country, you know, as this death movement grows, I love collaborating with others. Like I said, I'm honored to be here. And this doing death differently, it catches people's ears, you know, because it's like, what does that even mean? Like, how can I do death differently? And then people begin to realize they haven't even thought about death, period, right? So it's the community, and my hope is for people to embrace death with the beauty and awe that people gaze into birth, because they really are very similar portals. So I speak at community events. I work with nursing organizations and physicians. I do forums, and I'm here on podcasts, and I am just overthrilled, like a waterfall, Sherry, overjoyed and happy to be participating here. Jim, thank you. All these tech support podcast people, thank you everyone for being here. And with that, I am complete.
You, Beth Ann. Thank you. Hey, listen, if you guys are hearing random calls coming from here, I'm at my girlfriend now. My background is going wild. I was hoping I was actually hoping Casey could get in the background with me. My girlfriend, his daughter is she's special, and I can hear her off in the distance. She's having fun back in her room. Anyway, I'm super glad that you're here, Beth Ann. We're going to do death differently. We're going to reform the funeral industry. We're going to make it affordable for everyone. We're going to make sure people aren't forced to cremation. We're going to make sure people don't have to do fundraisers to bury their loved one and worry if they don't raise enough money. So we're going to make it so that people don't have to not claim their loved one and so that the state has to pay for their funeral because they can't afford to do it. And it's all about people, finding enough people who care enough to plan. And it's a, you know, I love the thought of it being a $100 one-time membership fee, because I don't know anybody that doesn't have $100 one time, right? And so now all of a sudden you're a member of something that is so revolutionary that you could die in any state. When we get a property in every state, you can be a member, and not just to go and be buried, but we're picking estates, and gorgeous estates, for a reason. You know, we want them to be some place that people want to go and visit. So there's no longer that lonely cemetery on the hill that everybody is dreading, but we'll have a society that is thriving and like a, I don't know. I'm just imagining death differently, where it's not, we're all alone. I love the thought of a tree and having a whole family buried around a tree and becoming the DNA of that tree together, like a real life family tree. So thank you, Bethany, and I know that you'll help us find people in Florida. I want your videos on the website. I want what you're doing on our resource page so that people can have resources, not just in Florida, but if they want to have somebody on a virtual screen to walk that family through whatever it is that they're going through, you're going to be there. And you're the first one that I know of that is taking this midwifery, this death midwifery on a virtual level. Not many people, in that but not too many people are too tech savvy, I guess, that are doing this kind of work. And so I'm very excited to see that, because now you could have a bunch of people in the room, and we're all talking about it together. So good for you.
Exactly. And thank you again, Sherry. And I also collaboratively would love to host you on all my platforms in every way I can. So thank you.
I'll be there. I'll be there indeed. Emily, let's introduce Adam. Adam is my guy. Adam is coming in on sales. Adam is going to be our superstar corporate salesman. Corporate sales. That's what we're going to call him. Corporate sales. What are you going to do, Adam? Talk to us.
I think beyond sales, I think this is something that's not about sales to me, right? It's about revolutionizing what we're doing, right? So this is like an outside the box type of thought process. This is something that's kind of like, hey, we should have been doing this a long time ago type of situation, right? But, it took your courage to go ahead and get on board and have that crazy one thought by yourself to go ahead and find a way to bring everybody together, right? So, my thought process and my focus on this is to generally talk to everybody. I mean, I know we should focus on corporate, and that is an important aspect of it. But I believe that once people know, what the offer is, and just to get to that point, we're really, that it is a free thing at the end of the day. I mean, if you have only one time to give $100 to go ahead and provide something, there's nothing out there that can give you that much of a benefit, that could bring families together, that could, bring people together, and something that's our own right. I mean, something that's been taken away by corporate America, that I'm not saying that we're not gonna have a fight. We are, right? But it's kind of hard to fight about something that's naturally right, right? I mean, a lot of times we get into situations where we find something, we think it's all for the right reasons, but this truly is for the right reason, right? I mean, everybody has a family, everybody can relate. Doesn't matter what race, what religion, if you believe in a twig or if you believe in the Almighty himself, it doesn't matter. The fact is, at the end of the day, we all die, right? And what better way to celebrate that is by putting us on a place where we can all be celebrated. And it could be a place of celebration instead of a place of sadness or a place of despair. It could be a place of wow, okay. When you think of the big almighty type of thing, you think of a beautiful place. You don't think of some desolate place where nobody wants to go to. You think of a wonderful place where everybody can be celebrated. And I feel that, a lot of the marketing that I'm going to be focusing on is focusing on celebrating that with people and letting people know that, hey, that you have a right. This is not something that, that should be something that okay, when you're at your worst, at your most horrible situation, when you lose somebody that you love, to be in a situation where, okay, now you have to come out of pocket and spend for something else that you have to get charged for. I mean? That's ridiculous, right? I mean, and it's bad enough not everybody has a place to live. Now you have to pay even more money to go ahead and bury somebody that, hey, in about 10 years, they're probably going to put somebody on top of you anyway, right? Here, we can eliminate that issue. We can kind of make it into a situation where, you'll be part of it forever. As long as this family, you'll be part of it. And nobody can take that away from you. And that's the gift that keeps on giving, honestly. So my thought process and everything is, making it something where it's something that's offered to our employees, offered to businesses, where, I mean, what better gift? I mean, most of the time there's people talk about, oh, insurance, oh, pet insurance for your dog, insurance for your cat, insurance for whatever. And that's all fine and good, but that's just a money grab itself, right? This is something where you truly are given a gift of like, something that you can actually sign up for and then almost like, I know I hate to take the pun, but set it and forget it, right? Like you buy it, like you get that, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh, it's time. You're like, oh, thank goodness that like, Sherry was around, they're around to actually, is this something to offer for me that we can actually take care of everybody? It's like one thing that's like one, I can tell you this, my mom is 75 years old, right? And my mom right now, her biggest fear is like stressing us out by not being able to have something to happen. If something happens to her, like for us not to, to be able to take care of the last rites for her, right? So much so where she signs something off where she wants to donate her organs to somebody else and she wants to get cremated and all this other fun stuff. But I think that's horrible. I mean, I would want to celebrate her life, celebrate the stuff that she's done for me and for everybody else that she's been involved with in our life, right? And I don't know if you want me to talk about my own personal experiences, but my dad, like when my dad died, it was really bad. It was like it was a situation like when my father died, it was unexpected, and I didn't even get to choose where he went. You know what I mean? Like I just came because I live in Oregon. My parents live in Las Vegas, and I showed up and he was already at a funeral home. I couldn't see him for 3 weeks because I didn't know like about the money situation. I don't know how expensive it was going to be. I didn't, you could say it's like a lack of planning, but you know how like everybody talks about insurance and all that type of stuff, but people don't really think about it until it's in front of you, right? So if we can have this opportunity to go ahead and, put it in a situation like where you could take that stress off of your plate, you know what I mean? You could put something onto the side that like really relieves that part of life, right? I mean, nobody wants to talk about it, but at the end of the day, it happens, right? It's like it's like the it's a way we can actually like put it out in the front and be like, okay, hey, I'm set, I'm good, and it's gonna be in a beautiful place, and and I think by us talking and telling everybody else is also gonna jump on board about that because it's kind of like, if enough people are talking about it, then they can't ignore it anymore. They're gonna have to find a reason. They're gonna have to tell us why not instead of why, right? And by doing what we're doing, it's gonna really truly you know, transition that thought process. And it's going to be something where I see this as never mind something just in the States, but I see this as a worldwide thing, because, I mean, if you look at most other countries actually make it a priority. They don't, I have family members who bury themselves in the backyard if they have to. I'm not saying that's the most best place, however, but they got the freedom to do it, right? And at least this opportunity, we get to put everybody in a beautiful place, a lot of people in a beautiful place. And there's no reason why we can't keep on doing that, so I know I can talk forever, but at the end of the day, like seeing yourself in this process, not just me but everybody else, everybody experiences this, right? And by kind of saying, hey, look, we got you, you're good, this is the way to do it, and this is why I'm so into it and so about it. So and I thank Sherry for that.
You, Adam. Thank
welcome.
you for telling your story and telling it well. And I'm thrilled that you're here. I'm really looking forward to just seeing how far this can grow. I know that you are you're the guy. I knew it from the first time I met you like 6 months ago. I knew it. Adam has a virtual assistant. He didn't talk about that, but we talked about finding people to do corporate sales so that we could get corporate donations, not just donations though, but turn it into a corporate benefit for their employees. And the whole concept behind that was possible employee retention. If the person either retired or died while they were employed, that employee could be gifted a membership to a cemetery society in that state, paid for courtesy of their corporation, or whoever they work for. So that was the thought behind that. And these corporations, the larger ones, could buy acres at a time and offer it just like they offer dental insurance. here's a spot for you. You can be part of the family in the long run. And I feel like that's an excellent opportunity for a benefit that is almost as good as health insurance. It just saved you $20,000 on your health, on your funeral. So anyway, I think I think we're onto something there, Adam, and I'm proud to have you. Kurt, can you come in and visit with us, or are you busy? Kurt, Emily, I think we may be left out in the cold. We are recording live with no pilot. We got no pilot. Oh, here's Emily. Here's Emily. Emily, you got the wheel?
All right, and Kurt, are you there, or we need to bring you on camera, please? I know he was
I don't-
putting stuff in the chat.
Adam, it's
What?
Beth Ann. I just wanted to really, really thank you for sharing what you do and for being here. I'm inspired to meet you and look forward to more.
I really appreciate you for saying that. Like I said, I mean, it truly is something that, this is something, it's the best benefit you can give somebody, right? I think, in my opinion. So, and I don't see, I mean, we spend so much wasted money on Starbucks and all these different things that, that like at the end of the day, we're like, what is that? And the one thing, I'm just going to say one thing and then everybody could, but my thought process, like I heard, I don't know if anybody knows who TD Jakes is, but he's like this, like, I don't know what beliefs are, it doesn't really matter. But my thought process, one thing that he said, and I thought was really important, is like, our value to something is determined by sacrifice, right? What are we willing to do, right? And this is for like the greater good. This is not just a me thing or a you thing. This is a us thing for everybody because everybody deals with it, right? And if this is something that no matter where you're from, who and all this stuff, that this is something that we can do for the benefit of everybody. And bigger companies can do this for their people and really say they actually did something for somebody, because a lot of times it's, oh, well, the fact that I gave medical benefits, oh, I'm such a great employer. I was like, no, when you can go ahead and like take care of the family, truly take care of the family by taking that stress away, by saying, okay, hey, you don't have to worry about that anymore. We got you. And it just and they can write it off all they want. It doesn't matter because it's an expense, right? And to do the ultimate thing for their people. So that's where I see that it goes without saying. I think it's definitely something that's very invaluable. And yes, of course, I look forward to working with all of you, and continue to work with everybody that I'm talking to right now. But I'm looking forward to all the thousands of people that we're going to be talking to.
Thanks.
I'm so proud. Kurt, are you with us?
Yes, I am with you. Yep. So how can I help you?
Oh, I just wanted you to share your what you do, how you do it, and how you're helping us. Because I'm proud of you too. I'm so proud you got me on a podcast. He'd been trying to get me to do a podcast for months and months and months, and I didn't feel like I had my thoughts all. I didn't have my foundation when we first started talking. I didn't have the foundation, and now the foundation is there. It's a 501c7 society, cemetery society that that's going to make all the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, so my secret is I'm a guy who craves attention. So what I do is I just make myself available for somebody like Sharon. She does me a big favor by giving me attention, and then she doesn't feel so alone trying to do all this. There we go, Sharon. Mutually beneficial, right, Sherry? So we're having fun with this. And so yeah, the conversation Sherry and I have had has been on many fronts. By my tendencies, I don't want to blame Sherry for any of this, but we talked on the faith side of things. I heard Adam, speaking to that because for sure with what the funeral industry is, our faith lives come in strong to that. For most everybody, it is what faith is all about. And then this nonprofit business and this business of running a membership organization, a 501c7. I happen to be a builder of excellence with Optimus International, another 501c7 driven organization. And so I can apply some cross training here, and it's very exciting in my life. I'm 52 years old, and so yeah, life always gives, other turns and twists, and who knows how long I'm going to live. I'll tell you what, I've been in an ambulance looking at the top of that thing like, oh, heavenly creator, am I going to be making it past the hospital? So yeah, it is something to think about with my wife and daughter, what they're going to experience, when it's time for my resting. And, I find this very educational. So being here with, death midwives and so forth, very interesting. We have another friend by the name of Zita, who is a birth midwife. And so I'm learning this, maternal capacity, on the planet, in terms of what people do to take care of business of life from the beginning to the end, the alpha and the omega, right? So, and then, how this all works, in our governmental capacity and compliance and law abiding, and, hearing how people tell Sherry, oh, you can't do that, it's not legal, and, stuff like that. So looking at our interpretation of laws, and, and then to not forget about the fun things. I think I heard Adam saying a little bit of, it ideally can go to a celebration of life, that when those pass on, we, don't look at the doldrums of the void that is then there, but to think about, wow, the great gift we have of their being with us in our life, and, that legacy that they create, that we are here to fill the voids of those that have passed before us and to carry the torch. So Sherry, what a legacy you're building here. And I love the idea of how we're going back to, practices of old, and, kind of, attending to this commercialism and this consumerism in the United States of America, and how it gets us a little perverted in our ways. And so I'm glad that Sherry is here filling this calling and answering that calling in her heart that, hey, something needs done. We're here, we have in our gallery, she's on a mission, Cece here, and we talked before the show, the mission that Cece's on. We spent a couple hours before this live stream talking about the business of that. So yeah, and I like what Adam said about, getting the masses to hop on board, so that, the voice of one Sherry Wallace is now the voice of a nation, and, going to that a point of unstoppable. Because that's your belief, Sherry, right? Is you're unstoppable and you will get this done with us. Does that sound like a good battle cry right now? Is that along the lines of what we're doing here?
It's together we move mountains. The battle cry of the people. Together we can do anything. And it won't even be hard. The more people, I sent out a message to Paul Orndorff, who I've introduced Kurt and Adam to on Alignable, but he meets with 900 men every Monday morning on a call like this, and they share, and it's an amazing. Can you imagine 900 men on a call? And it's kind of like a prayer call. And I said, Paul, listen, just come on the board of directors. I'll never ask you to do anything except find me 500 men. That's all I need is 500 men. I'll never ask for anything else. I haven't heard from him since. But I'm expecting, I tell him like,
Sherry, you need to clarify. You can't. It reminds me of a story, right? When my wife, I remember one time I was working in Vegas, and my wife said, "Hey, I hit 7 people." I'm like, 7 people? You hit 7 people, or did you get in a car accident? Right? Because we got in a car accident. Okay, fine, we'll survive, right? But if you hit 7 people, then we're probably done, and probably gonna have to meet you at jail. You know what I mean? So when you ask him, hey, I need 500 people, you're like, I need 500 people for, and then say something. But don't say I need 500 men. I'm like, really?
I'm gonna tell him like I tell you, Adam, get it done or don't come back. I'm certain that he's going to find me 500 men, and that would get us on our way to a board of directors in every state, and that's what we need. We need ambassadors, we need board members, we need members. And I'll tell you something fun too before we go, and we are going to have to cut this off because I've got duties to attend to. And but the where was I going? Oh, we are going to set aside several acres at every property for people who want to be buried with their pets. So if your pet will be a member also. And so now we've got another avenue to make us the most wonderful people in the planet. So now people, for the first time in their lives, can be buried with their pets. Now, somebody's got a herd of goat or something. I mean, there's got to be some kind of limit to this, and I'm sure we'll have to figure that out. But right now, we can certainly put it in the plan for an acre or 2 or 10 or however big that ends up being. And people can buy a membership, $100 membership for their pet. The pet can be buried there with them and not with everybody else. I mean, just give them their own acres, like for us people who, we're going to have the singles section. We're going to have a neon light.
What a beautiful idea, Sherry. Can I bring
Mhm.
it back just for a quick moment before we conclude to the human? And I just thought of I thought of all the different people that I've worked with in the capacity as a hospice nurse, and at the time of dying, the different configurations and what they were presented with. And I have seen hundreds, maybe thousands, but certainly mega hundreds of scenarios where there was strife or unmet needs or trauma, actually, probably trauma for sure, because this piece wasn't in place, and or again the affordability, the accessibility, and just the ideas. So the goal to like educate along the way to like make this, as you said, just grow enormously. And I'm just thinking of all those people and the human and how it's really, really going to make the most profound difference in so many people's lives. So thank you for hearing that from my perspective.
This is going to be beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Beth Ann. Thank you, Adam. Jim, he's gone, but I'm thrilled. Cece, thank you. Emily, thank you. I guess we'll wrap it up for today and see you guys next Friday. Let's be trees.
All right, I was just noticing our crew today is the ABCs and CC. We got Adam, Beth Ann, Sherry, and CC. ABC and CC.